to the clown. Boom, we're live. Okay, hope everyone's having a great Friday or whenever you're watching this. It'll be uploaded on Friday, but I have a legend in the making in here in the Zoom room with me. So, Leslie Rios, how are you doing today?
Hi, Mason. I'm well. Thank you so much for having me today.
You're very welcome. I'm excited and ecstatic to have you. So, give me a little bit of backstory because I know we just met. So, give me a little bit of a backstory about kind of how you got introduced to the industry and what you were doing prior.
Absolutely. So, hi, everybody. My name's Leslie Rios. I actually started in insurance 8 years ago. I'm originally from East Los Angeles. So, if you know anything about that, I'm a minority. Parents are from Mexico. They came in. I was raised by my grandma. Very, very, very poor neighborhood. And when I was introduced to insurance 8 years ago, basically I was sold a dream. And the dream was that I can make $500,000 a year. And so for a family that, had probably never made over 15,000 in a year, a household of three, that was like, wow, 500,000. You got to be, kidding me. So I fell in love right away. I saw the potential. I saw the need. I saw that you could make a lot of money. I saw that, the lifestyle was a lot different than what I was used to. And basically, I was willing to do whatever it took. So started off with the company, low compensation, 25%. They told me to recruit the world, right?
Okay.
They're like, recruit the world and you'll make 500,000. So that's basically all I knew in insurance. I didn't know how to sell. I didn't know product. I didn't know anything. All I knew was that I could make $500,000 if I just recruited everybody to the opportunity. So it's what I did my first 2 years in the industry. I made $4,000 my first year, $3,000 my next year. And everybody's like, was that in a month? And I'm like, no, that was the whole year. That was in the whole year. But I knew that it worked because there was other people making it. So basically I was like, okay, this is great. Fast forward 3 years later, I came across a company that, was giving me 60%. They offered leads. I fell in love with the idea that, hey, I don't have to lie to people and try to convince them that I'm making it, because that's kind of what you had to do at the old company. And I realized that, hey, there's actually people that are interested. So all I have to do is get really good at finding a solution to what it is that they're looking for. I asked my mentor at the time, hey, can I make $10,000? If I can make $10,000 this month, I will quit my job. So I'm a single mom. I had a daughter when I was 16, and I was working 2 restaurant jobs at the time. I was bartending and I was serving, and I worked my way up. So I was in Malibu bartending. So kind of got out of LA, the ghetto. And he said, absolutely. If you didn't make $10,000, there's probably something wrong with you, because, we get paid a lot. And so I trusted him and I believed him, and I went, and most people would call me insane. I quit my job that same day, and I just went all in into insurance. My first month, working late, I made $15,000. Next month, I made $21,000, and then worked my way up from there.
It's pretty incredible. So yeah. I'll give you a round of applause. Let's do. And kind of break down the background for me, Latina Financial. So I'm assuming you're recruiting to that as well?
Absolutely.
Okay, so what kind of agents are you looking for?
So, I realized that there was a lot of agents in the Latino market that are underserved. And Department of Insurance a couple years ago actually changed something, which was they allowed people that don't have a Social Security to work in insurance and own their own insurance business. So before that, you had to have a social security. So, there was a lot less Latinos out there. And so when that happened, I realized that, hey, there's a lot of other people like me that are minorities that, didn't come from a good family, that, didn't have money or resources, that are looking for an opportunity. And, if you know anything about Latinos, we work hard. We work very hard, and we're willing to do whatever it takes. So I said, hey, why not brand my agency, and why not serve that community that's being underserved? Why not help the Spanish speakers that aren't getting this information? And I realized that just like we like to work, Latinos also like to buy, and they like to spend money, and they care. They care a lot about their families, so they don't want to leave a burden behind. So I thought, man, this is great. So I've been focusing on that the last couple of years, and it's been great.
I'd love to dive in on that for a minute, if you don't mind. Like Mexican culture, like, is that, correct me if I'm wrong, is that like a huge difference, or like with that and Latino? Like, is there a big difference?
So Latino is anybody from Latin America. I happen to be Mexican, but I actually have people that are from El Salvador, Colombia, even Puerto Rico. So, people that speak Spanish.
Okay, so when I like anytime I go over there, I just love the family culture. Like outside of the people trying to sell me, like when I went to Cabo, I know there was like a 5-year-old trying to sell me a necklace, and when I didn't want that, he's like, "Well, you want some cocaine?" Like, oh, no thanks. But like I love the family culture over there, like the small mom and pop shops. They've got the whole family. Like, I love that.
Yeah, absolutely. We are very family oriented. Mexicans, we
That's
live
what I
with
wanted to
our,
dive into. Not to cut you
yeah.
off, but where does that come from? Like, I would love to get a better understanding of that personally.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just our culture. Like, we're raised and we live at home until we marry. And we care our culture. We care about our elders a lot. So, we don't send our family members to like nursing homes or anything like that. It's you just know that, when you have an older person in the household, you take care of them. And it's just this thing that we're, raised with. And I don't know exactly where it comes from, but I decided to capitalize on that because I thought, hey, I would never, make my grandma pay for something. So I want to get her a plan, right? So when I go meet with these people, it's the other way around. They're like, hey, I would never leave that burden to my children, or I would never leave that burden to my wife or my husband or anybody else, right? So they pride themselves in taking care of the family. And so I thought, man, that's great. And it's been great.
Definitely a lot of market cap for that, a lot of revenue to be generated with that. I absolutely love that. So
Yeah.
props to you. And how long has Latina Financial been running now?
So Latina Financial, actually, I just rebranded like 2 months ago. Before that, it was just my last name. I wasn't really branding to anything. I didn't really have, my niche, you can say. So Latina just became an LLC July.
Okay, well, congratulations on that. Way to take a big step forward. And how many agents have you brought into the opportunity since you've been around?
I don't know how many since I've been around, but I did have in my books right now, I have over 300. However, I have about 50 writing agents. So 50 that are actually doing it full time, because everybody else, I'm like, it's a tough industry. So they'll come in, they'll quit, they'll write something here and there. But I have about 50 every single month that are full time.
So for those, out of those consistent writers, I'm sure 20% of those 50 are doing 80% of the work. What does that look like transformation wise for them? Like, what have you seen be a difference between where someone comes in at versus where they're at now? Can you share some of those stories?
Absolutely. I have, one of my girls, she was a nurse, and she has 2 children and her husband. Her husband doesn't work. She retired him. so that he could watch the kids and drive her around to her appointments. So she was making, I think she was making around 6,000 before at her nursing job. And now, you know, she does about $30,000 to $40,000 every single month. And that has really changed her life. She's like, I'm going to buy a house. She's been with me full time for about a year and a half now. And so she's like, I'm going to, you know, one of her goals was to retire her husband, the other one to retire her mom. So she's been able to do that. And now she wants to buy a really nice house besides the one that they live in. So to be able to see her, more importantly, have that freedom of time with her children where she's not having to drive somewhere, work all day and miss their games, miss their school events. It's just been amazing. Also, like when I met her, she couldn't really talk to somebody. She couldn't tell them about the opportunity. She used to call me and be like, hey, can you please help me recruit this person? And I'm like, just talk to them. They're a normal person, right? Now she's running her own events. Now she's mentoring her own agents and she's duplicating the system. So it's just been amazing. I have other, you know, another gentleman, Renee, for example, he came in and he was working full time and he got like a 2-week vacation. And during that 2 weeks, he's like, Leslie, I want to make this happen. I don't want to have to go back to work. Can I make money? And I said, absolutely. So I worked with him and yeah, he didn't have to go back to work because he made more money here in insurance in those 2 weeks than he was making at his job. So same thing. Now he can spend a lot more time with his children and his wife and, you know, not have to work. So the freedom of time, I would say it's the biggest thing for my agents. Now they're their own boss. Now they can manage their own time and they can really have that flexibility with their family and kids.
That's amazing. And how, just for transparency purposes, like how much time would you say those agents actually spend working a week?
Well, I know Ira spends a lot of time, but I can say Renee doesn't spend as much. I think he told me he was working about 15 hours in insurance. So he calls, he sets his appointments and he goes out there. So he doesn't run too many. Ira does. Ira works full time. So I know she's running a lot in the field and also making a lot of phone calls. So not sure if I have to put it into hours, not sure how much that would be.
Probably like 40, 50, would you say?
Ira probably.
Still,
like I said, Renee's not working that many. I know he does like 15 hours.
Well, considering she was probably working 40 or 50 nursing, making 6,000, that's a big jump for working the same amount.
Yeah. Yeah. And some of her income also comes from overrides now. So it's nice as well.
Yeah, building a business. So I'd love to talk about that next. What do you see as some good recruiting practices? What do you follow to kind of build an agency?
Mm-hmm. The way I recruit, I don't actively recruit. I'm not like, hey, come join my team. I think that everybody on social media is trying to recruit you to something. And I think that if you chase people, they run away. So I don't do that. The way I recruit is I post lifestyle. So if I'm out, I'm recruiting because there's a lot of people that are stuck at work or stuck at a job. If I'm eating out, I post that because there's a lot of people that can't afford to eat out. That was me. I couldn't. There was no way that my family could afford. We lived in a tiny little room in East LA. Like there was no way that we could afford to go out to eat. Maybe once a month we would. So I know that there's a lot of people that do that, that can't go out. So the way I recruit is just posting my everyday life, posting when I'm out and about, posting, you know, spending time with my kid, with my daughter. And then just putting it out there. Also, don't be a silent agent, but putting out there that you recruit, putting out there that you have an agency and that people can come and work for you and, or not for you, but with you, and that they can build their own business as well. Because I think a lot of people will do one or the other, but they won't do both often. And so people just think like, oh man, that person has a really cool job, but they don't know that they can also do it. So that's one thing that has worked for me, is just, you know, not dream selling, but just posting my lifestyle and posting that I recruit. And one thing that, you know, always happens is somebody's going to have a bad day at work. And remember, that there's other opportunities out there. And if it's not now, later, I'm pretty consistent about it, because some agents will start and they won't get, any people to follow them in a week, and then they'll stop posting. So the thing about me is, for the last 8 years, I've been consistent about it. Every single day I'm posting.
I love that. Oh, we got an echo in here. I'll just have to make sure I talk quiet. So what do you see on the selling side? How do you help people who come in new actually start writing consistently? Like those 50 writers you have, what do you do to help them write consistently and actually achieve that 6-figure income?
Absolutely. One of the things that I do is I keep things very simple. I train him on one company. I train him on the product, because a lot of times managers I've seen, or uplines, or whatever you want to call it, they'll just tell you, just buy your leads and go out there. But I've noticed that people won't do that, because if they're not confident enough, then they'll just, paralyze. And I've also noticed other people that will show them 10 or 15 different products before they can go out and sell. So I keep it simple. I teach them one company. I make sure they understand how to use the application. I make sure they understand what the product does for the family. And I make sure that they know the most common objections that people are going to give them. And I also tell them, hey, this is what they're going to say to you. So before they tell you that, you're going to say this. And I keep it very simple. I tell them that it's just, it's very repetitive. Same thing over and over and over and over. And I tell them that if they have a client that asks for something else, let them know, no problem. Right now, we're going to take care of this, and we'll set up another time to come and talk about that, right? We're talking about more advanced products and things like that. So when my people go out in the field, I've already prepared them with what they're going to get, everything that people might say. And so now when they get an objection, they're not like, oh, shoot, what do I do? Like, oh yeah, Leslie told me that they were going to tell me this. So now I know what to say. And then I check up on them, like, hey, did you get paid? Hey, are you happy with what you got paid? Right? Because a lot of the times agents won't tell you, they'll just disappear. Mm-hmm. And then they're gone. And then it might be that, hey, I thought I was going to get paid different. And I'm like, well, you got to tell me, because if you don't tell me, I don't know. I'm getting paid regardless. So I need to know. So that's one thing. And then having them act fast. As soon as somebody, signs their contracting paperwork, they're already dying. So it's very important to get them activity fast and get them going fast instead of waiting, because if we have them wait, then they're going to wait 3, 4, 5 weeks, and then they're just going to drop out. So I think I'm pretty good at doing that. And then getting rid of people that are just going to waste time, right? So people that aren't serious, if they have the training, if I coach them, they know how the product works, they know that they have to buy leads, and they're not acting, then I'm not going to, sit there and try to revive them. Like, maybe insurance isn't for you. So I also don't, I'm not emotional. I'm not attached to people coming in and telling me they're going to destroy. I just say, great, let's get to work.
I love that. See, I think too many people let emotions get in the way of business. And I say emotions have no place in business. Whether you're sad does not affect your ability to dial or make sales.
Absolutely.
And it brings me up to the conversation like, what's the meaning of work? Well, who says work has to be meaningful?
Yep.
Work is work.
Yeah.
I think that's why so many people burn out. Well, I thought it was going to do this for me. It's like, you have to get rid of your expectations, your emotions, and your excuses.
Absolutely.
3 E's will kill you over here. What kind of mindset do you see in successful insurance agents, Leslie? Like, what do you see as the best beliefs that they have in themselves or the product?
Yeah, the most important thing is mindset. So I do I do realize that people don't believe in themselves. And at first, that's okay. I kind of loan them my belief in them. But eventually, that's something, personal growth is something that I can't teach them. I can tell them, I'll send them videos, I'll send them books, But at the end of the day, they need to have that desire and that drive in themselves to want to be successful. So I noticed that a lot of agents that are successful, they will work on themselves. They will read, they will invest that time in themselves. They'll also ask a lot of questions. If they can't, they'll try to figure things out. If they can't figure them out, they'll come and ask me, and they'll say, hey, what should I be doing, to win in this business? And they know that to some extent I can help them get there, but I tell them, hey, you got to meet me halfway. I can sit down with you and I can help you set goals. But at the end of the day, this is your life, your business, and your family. And if you quit, my income's probably not going to be affected because I'll keep working with people. I'll keep working on my own, right? So they'll ask a lot of questions. They won't blame me. I have agents. If somebody comes in and they're like, oh, this happened, but it's because you didn't show me, then I already know that they don't have that mindset, right? Because winners find solutions and they take responsibility for themselves, their actions, and their business. So they also don't rely on me for everything. So I noticed that a lot, and they just take action. They're engaged. So you can tell when somebody, is going to be successful because they're engaged, whether it's responding to messages, whether it's asking questions, but you can tell.
No, absolutely. I love that. Leslie, what do you think the biggest problem is in the life insurance industry? Like, what do you see as the biggest piece of adversity that someone has to go through in the life insurance industry? Me personally, I think a lot of people get sold a pipe dream and they have no mentorship whatsoever. But then it's like that, and then a combination of mindset. They come in here with all this baggage and they lie to themselves all the time. So those are the two biggest problems I perceive. What about you?
Yeah, I think definitely mindset and expectations. And part of it is, what you said, people posting like, oh, it's so fabulous. Like, I'm the other way around. Like, I go out there and door knock in bad neighborhoods, and I tell my agents, like, hey, this isn't pretty, right? A lot of times people are like, oh my gosh, this is so glamorous. I made so much money, but it's like, yeah, but how many leads did you buy? You had no shows. There's a lot of times where I've showed up to many homes, and there's a lot of times where I've been driving all day long and I haven't had a sale, and I've had a lot of adversity. So a lot of it is having the right expectations. Okay, great. I'm not going to come in. I'm going to start an insurance. If I was going to go be a doctor, how many years of studying is it going to take? How many years of hands-on? If you're going to go be a brain surgeon, right? You're not going to go operate on a brain day one. So a lot of agents that come in, they just automatically think that everything is great and they're going to be successful right away. So having the proper expectations, knowing that, hey, all I got to do is run the numbers. Some days will be good, some days will be bad, but as long as I'm consistent, it'll work. And for us as an upline or as a mentor to let them know that, hey, this is going to happen. It happened to me too. Hey, I didn't close every appointment, but I got better. So you got to practice on your skill set, because that's something you can control. And you got to work on your mindset, and you got to stay consistent. So as long as there's that communication between an agent and the mentor, and oftentimes the agents, they expect us to do a lot of the work, but they're in and out, right? So they come in and they're like, I want to do this. And we're like, okay, great. And then they, drop their energy, drop their activity, and that doesn't work either. So combination of mindset, combination of setting the right expectations, and as an agent having the right expectations, and every day moving forward, every day being consistent, every day putting in the work and committing that, no matter what happens, I'm going to stick to this for at least a year, I would say. People come in, it's a week and they're out. So
yeah, there's a very low barrier of entry. It's not like where you have to go through 12 years of college. It's 40 hours of your time online and whatever the state costs are for getting an insurance license, and you're ready to go. So
Yeah.
I know you just mentioned a year. Is that the typical time frame you think for an average agent to kind of get over the learning curve or learn the business?
No, not really. But I mean, I think that you can learn the stuff in a month if you do it. But I'm saying like most people aren't going to commit. Most people are going to, be here 2 to 3 weeks and then quit. But if it was, if I was telling them, I'd say, hey, give it a full year if you're looking to have a business where you're not in the field anymore, where you're now training other agents and not being a salesperson. I think for agents, so I guess I'm thinking more of a builder. I think for agents, if you put in the work in a couple months, you should be up and making money. But
How fast you
you're
can pay down the time tax of ignorance, because what you don't know in this industry will kill you.
yeah,
It's
absolutely.
dangerous. It's dangerous.
Yeah.
Why do you like life insurance so much? What
I
made
don't.
you choose this instead of being like what made you choose this though instead of being a doctor or like a lawyer?
Yeah. I always tell people I'm not passionate about life insurance itself. Life insurance is great. It's something that people need. But I'm not passionate about life insurance. What I'm passionate about is helping people change their lives. And I don't know any other career or any other business that you can literally go take a 52-hour course and make $10, $15, $20,000 brand new from the get-go. So it's changed my life completely. I didn't even think making as much money as I make was possible. If somebody would have told me that, I would never, I would have thought, no, they're lying. And also the freedom, like now I spend a lot of my time traveling with my daughter. There's no way that I could have gone to, medical school or gone through so much schooling and paid so much money and got paid what I make now, and having that same freedom of time, having that flexibility, and really just owning that business. So there's no other industry that I know that I could have done that.
I don't know if this is too personal of a question or not, but what's the most you've ever made in a month from selling it?
Do you mean selling or do you mean overrides?
It could be both. Like what's the most you've made a month on overrides, and what's the most you've made
The
on selling?
the most that I've made was around 60K, not working in 1 month. 60K, not really working a lot on my own sales.
That's juicy.
Well, I mean, I know people that make a lot more.
Oh, this is definitely the industry to be in if you're looking to make a lot quick. What has this done for your kids or your kid?
Well, being a single mom, I was able to put my daughter through private school. We take vacations all the time. It's a lot of people at her school can't even, she'll be like, oh my gosh, you make that much? My mom makes that in a day. Or my mom, makes that. Yeah. So I know that I've opened her mind up to what's possible.
I love that.
Because if it wasn't for that, she wouldn't know any different. Like now she can't believe that people make so much less. Like she's like, how do people survive on this? I'm like, I have no idea. So it's just, she has much bigger goals, much bigger ambitions. She's been able to travel, which is something that I wasn't able to do when I was younger. And now she doesn't want to go to school. She's like, I'm not going to go to college because I'm just going to get my life insurance license, and I want to do the same thing that you do. So it's been great. Like I said, coming from a really humble beginning and not having any money and being able to get my daughter what she wants, it's different. It's not to brag at all. I'm very humble and I'm not, but it's just different because when I was a little girl, I couldn't go out to eat. I didn't have new shoes. I didn't have new clothes. So we're just able to do a lot more things for other people, help my family and help friends out, and that I wasn't able to do before.
So I'd like to make sure I'm on the same context with you. What does humble mean to you?
Well, humble humility to me is, not forgetting where you come from. There's a lot of people that, and the only reason I talked about money was because you asked, but you don't go around bragging that you have so much money and you have this and you have that. No. I love this business because there was days when my daughter was young where I couldn't feed her. There was days when I had $5 in my bank account. And so just because we have a little bit more now doesn't mean that I can look down on people that have less, right? And I just came back from Mexico twice, but I went to Oaxaca, which is a very small town. Yeah, and it was
I'd have to
great.
try to spell that.
And I there was 4 of us sleeping in one room. It's like dirt. It's very humble. And I know some people that be like, oh my gosh, no, I need like a 5-star hotel. And it's like, this is great. It's amazing. I'm so grateful for, what I have, because I can share with other people and I can really appreciate it coming from nothing, if that makes any sense. So that humility is just at heart, being able to afford things that other people can't, but not feeling like you're more important or you're better, if that makes any sense.
Correct. See, I would disagree and say you're not a humble person. And that's not to insult you. It's just what you've been able to do for other people. I'd say that makes you a pretty damn important person. Like, do you know the actual definition for being humble?
No.
It's having a low opinion of one's own self-importance. I'd say you're a pretty self-important person. Like, we're our own most important person in our worlds, maybe until you have a kid.
Yeah.
They kind of become the priority. But like, I personally do not say I'm humble because I know I'm important. Like,
Yeah.
I just don't see you as a humble person. But I just wanted to make sure we were on the same context, and it's not an insult at all, because I love your story.
Absolutely. And yeah, and I always feel like the people make you. My clients make me. My agents make me. You're not, oh, I'm so important. If it wasn't for my clients and my agents, then I would be nothing. And that goes for everybody, celebrities, and so I think a lot of times we just forget and we're like, oh my gosh, I'm this and I'm that. And that's why when you asked me to do the interview, I'm like, absolutely. Like, if I can help somebody, if I can inspire somebody, which, I was the worst person. I didn't believe in myself. I didn't think that I could make it. I honestly, before, I couldn't even eat in front of people because I was so shy, and my self-esteem was really poor. And so to be here today and just talking on camera and know that, people are going to watch this, I've come a really long way. And it's been because of this amazing business. It's really, like I said, I don't know any other business where I can go and make as much money as I want. And, all I have to do is sell some policies. Like, let's say that I was broke today, I can have $0 in the bank. I got some leads and I can have $10,000 in 2 days. Where else can you go to do that, right?
Well, there's only one other place, and that's selling drugs, and I will not promote that. Unless you're good at it, I don't know, but I'll always joke around about that. You can rob a bank, and I always root for the bank robber. I think they rob us every day anyway. So, what's some good advice that you would give other agents? Like, what would you really like to see other people implement to become the best versions of themselves?
Just stay consistent. Stay the course. You're not going to be great overnight. You're not going to be selling a whole lot overnight, but just commit to yourself and, commit to getting better, commit to improving whatever it is that you want to do in life. Just get better at it, master it, get better. Always look to help other people. So whether it is that you're selling insurance or selling tacos, be kind and look to help them, even if you can't get anything in return, because that's going to pay back. And sometimes we're very, I don't know how to say in English, but me, what can I gain from it? I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to put in the hours. I'm not gaining anything, or I'm not getting paid. And it translates into the business and how much money we're going to make, right? So just stay the course, improving your spirituality, improving your business, improving yourself, work out, all of that stuff is going to just help you have a much better quality of life, and it's going to help you help other people. And if you don't do it for yourself, find somebody that that you care about and do it for them.
I love that. And just to make that more specific so people have a good course of action they can follow if they love your message, which I do. What does consistency look like in the business side of things? Like, what kind of stuff should be in their schedule? What should they actually be doing?
Yeah. First off, every single day, do some sort of self-improvement, whether you read a book, listen to an audio podcast. Second thing, self-improvement in the business. Watch an objection video, watch a sales video, get with your mentor one-on-one. Third, do the activity. Find out what the top people are doing that you look up to. So whatever IMO you're with, find the top producers and find videos about them, watch them, find out what their habits are, find out what they're doing differently. And just put in the work. If they're telling you buy your leads, and you got to buy your leads, you got to call your leads, you got to set appointments, that's what you got to do. So stay consistent on that, but you can't do it one day and then not do it the next. So consistency means doing it every single day and trusting the process and not quitting because you had a bad day. Because you got to run the numbers. And in life insurance, it's all about numbers. So, yep.
Absolutely. Do the boring work. That's what I tell people.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be meaningful. Just do it.
Just do it. No shortcuts.
No. Well, Leslie, I absolutely loved having you on. I think you are a fucking awesome person based on what I've heard so far. I'd love to talk to you more in the future. Any last piece of advice that you would give to agents or even non-agents, just people looking to level up in their life? And then tell us where people can reach out to you at if they want to work with you or.
Yep. Find a good mentor. Mentors really can make it or break it in this industry. So find a good mentor, find a good coach, find somebody that's already, done what they're telling you to do. You guys can find me on Facebook, Leslie Rios. You can find me on Instagram, Latina Financial Group, and Leslie 2_ Rios on IG. But yeah, just find a great mentor and then do whatever it is that they tell you to do and trust them, because a lot of the times us as mentors, we can see the picture. And if you don't believe in yourselves, we'll believe for you and we'll teach you the way if you just stay committed and do what we do. So listen to the mentors.
I absolutely love that, because they can see things in you that you can't see in yourself yet.
Absolutely.
Which is what I love doing for people. So Leslie, thank you so much for coming on. I love your energy. I love the message that you brought, and I hope this helps whoever's watching. You guys commenting, be sure to go follow Leslie and thank her for sharing her story with us. But just leave a like and a comment, all that jazz. If you found this valuable, send it to a friend. And if you're bilingual and want to make a lot of money, go follow this girl. Seriously, the Spanish market is untapped. So if you speak Spanish and you want to make some money, this is your girl. Because I only know a couple words so far. I'm learning it, but I can't help you as good as she could with that. So,
thank you for having me, Mason.
Absolutely. I'll catch up with you later, girl. Thank you.
Bye.
You guys have a great day. Keep being awesome.
Bye-bye.